The following is a special presentation of the Georgia Tech Cable Network.
Last year, for the first time, there was a reunion of the little NBA. And it was very interesting that sometimes, if you have a high school reunion, you may or may not really be eager to go to that because not all your memories of high school are fantastic, let me put it that way. And yet, for the little NBA, this was something we had done 30 or 30-some years ago. Everyone was eager to show up to that. And I was wondering why after so many years and all we did was show up at the gym to play basketball together.
I think recently we got together for lunch, and at that time there were people who had been there for much longer than I had, and I got a better sense for how long people had been doing this, and it was kind of fun to listen to all the stories. Many of them just don't change. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about the 60s, the 70s, or 80s. The same people had the same kind of fun. They had the same sort of experiences. It was a lot of fun. But I don't think I fully appreciated how long this had been going on until recently.
I know that there are social media and people are connecting and all this, but this is kind of a curious way for people to relate to each other 30-some years after the fact, when that initial fact was completely spontaneous and voluntary, and it must have been so good that after 3 decades, you still want to see what so-and-so is doing. And we began to communicate with each other via email, those of us that were living in different places. How's your family? How's this? How's that? And just catching up. So it was, I think, a testament to how special that part of the Georgia Tech life was, and is still in our memories.
I heard a really funny story that some of the guys were telling when some of the old players got together for lunch a little bit back. They every once in a while, the normal courts will be occupied, whether it's like summer camps or they're refinishing them or something, and so the guys have to find somewhere else to play. And so there was one time that they went to O'Keefe and decided to play there, but the volleyball net was still up. And so they played full court, and every time that they would run across half court, they would have to duck down underneath the net. So it was like every time they were having to remember, okay, got to duck and go through it and, dribble underneath it. And they said that there was one player who just really got into the moment and ran full speed into the net, and he ran and it stretched and then it snapped him back. And, they said he was out with a concussion for a week, and of course everyone was just, laughing at him, but then, I guess he really hurt himself.
Well, I think that reunion, first of all, the best thing was that they took a lot of pictures. So we have thousands of pictures to document the reunion. Even the guys that preceded the 80s Little NBA, the guys that were inventing the wheel, so to speak, when there was no gym and no athletic center, those guys showed up as well. And again, that seems to be a testament of how important that part of the Georgia Tech life is these guys that didn't even know the younger, in quotation marks, younger in the 60s players. They wanted to meet them and hear their stories. And so the reunion, as I understand it, was, again, just completely spontaneous, voluntary. And people just began to want to say a few things, almost like give testimonials about how much fun and how great it was. And out of that reunion, there was a little publication, a 2-part series on how important it is to have an organization have something like that, where the workers, in this case the colleagues, faculty, students, staff members, could get together to do something just fun, unrelated to work. And the essay, I believe, was written or coordinated. His name is Tom Parker. And Tom was also a key figure in the Little NBA. And he's still very active in Georgia Tech alumni kind of things, as I understand it. And so he took the lead in writing up this two-part essay. And I think it's not only a wonderful story about Georgia Tech, because it relates the story of the guys that pioneered the Little NBA, but it also tells the story of how different waves of little NBAers continue to do this, not knowing that it had happened before, and certainly not knowing that it would continue to happen, but it tells the story of how magical, so to speak, that group of people in each generation of NBA, how magical it was to all of them.